Alright, y'all. So, I thought I'd try to do this on my way home tonight. I ain't gonna do this too long, but yeah, I do live up in the mountains, and I'm coming from a lower elevation, working my way up the mountains. But this video is kind of from my torque converter lockup switch I put on here. Yeah, I've seen a few videos out there and I've read some stuff. So I did mine about a week ago, and I just want to kind of do a little something on it maybe. I hadn't really seen a lot of this, an actual drive with it, explain it. So on my 02 Dodge here, you know, this is a VP44 engine still. It's not a P pump or anything. I do have 410s. I am running 35s. A big issue I was having when I moved up here, that I even had on flatter ground, but even more here, is I don't know if you can tell, I'm starting to raise in some elevation here. I actually climb about 1,200 feet from where I work at to on my way home. My lights are horrible, and these Dodges, of course, have horrible headlights, so that's my next improvement. But what I was having a lot of was a lot of my torque converter unlocking, locking, downshifting, just everything going on. And it's not that the motor didn't have enough power. So, I mean, right now I'm running about 60, if you can tell there, up a pretty decent grade here. Truck has no problem. I've actually got the torque converter locked in right now. I have no problems climbing this incline whatsoever. That was about 3/4 throttle. I heard a little turbo bark there, but she can do it, no issues. But with this here, like that right there, she would kick in, out, and I'm gonna try to replicate it here in just a little bit, but I'm just trying to demonstrate how well she drives with this torque converter lockup switch. So I drive it even in town. Obviously you gotta do a little more work with it, but I would have to say I'm down to about 40 or so. But when you get a really steep incline like this is right here, I know it's pretty hard to tell, but here's gonna be a good deal. You hear it kind of lugging, so I actually have to kick her off right here. She'll do it, but she's on strain and it ain't good. And she'll start puffing some smoke. So I've kicked it off right now. You can kind of hear what the torque converter's doing. I'm gonna leave it off here for a minute and drive it though. So shifted the gear, overdrives in. I'm doing about 50, 55. She's all right now. I'm on a pretty decent straightaway. I'm still running about 55. Slow down a little bit on this curve here. Now it's kicking back down. There was an instance there where it does some kind of hee-haw and playing around. Here it is now, kind of not sure what it wants to do 100%. I mean, that's the way my transmission shifts, all that turbo bark and stuff. I don't really know what's much to do with that. It's just the way it wounds up, climbing up these hills. I just got it. There's a pretty good one right here. So obviously I would really need it off right there. So with some of this winding and curving, it's so steep right now, I kind of have to drive it some. But honestly, like that right in here, I can lock it up and drive a whole lot better, because it'll chug through it. Now that right here, I'll have to kick it off either way. So I'm gonna try to kick it back on again. Let's see. So I've got it locked up again. I'm running about 50. And I know I'm driving in the dark and you can't see really well, but I'm gonna tell you, this is a pretty steep grade. Again, I go from about 2,000 feet elevation to about 3,200 feet elevation when I reach the top of this mountain, and that's what I'm going up right now. It is pretty steep. So I've got the torque converter locked. I'm running about 48 right here. 40 miles an hour right here. If I gradually roll into it, I'm actually doing about 38 right here with 410s and 35s. But she's gradually just chugging through it. And we're picking up speed a little bit right here, 40 now. I can roll into a little bit more without pounding it, and you can hear it starting to boost, start to build. Now I'm running about 50 again. Again, just depending on how much kicking that switch off and on, I'm obviously driving one hand and phoning another, kicking it off and on, how much work. Sometimes it's, you know, you have to pay attention to your speeds. You're not going to pick up a lot of speed. I'm running 40, let's kick it off. It's going to take it a second. Well, actually just picking on up speed right now. I think the torque converter stayed locked up right there is what happened. Now, this is another option you got. You can take, and let's see if we can do it with my hands here. Give me a second, bear with me. Alright, you can kick the overdrive off and lock your torque converter, and it will handle those hills a lot better. I'm out of them now, so there's really no point of it. I'll hit another patch later on down the road, but I'm just kind of on a windy road now with some up and down, but no real steep grade. But as I drive this, I'm learning to drive it a little bit better and a little bit better. So when you're in overdrive, you're cruising fourth gear, whatever, it's locked up anyway. But the manual override button is keeping it locked up, toggle switch. So if you want to slow down, you've got to unlock it. Because if you do not, you're going to stall the truck out. I'm sure you've read that and seen it, whatever. I'm good to slowing down to about 40, like I said, pretty comfortable. Depending on how steep the grade is, how fast I want to accelerate, I may have to kick it off. Sometimes I don't. It just kind of varies. I'm just learning as I go along. You fill the truck out, you switch it off if you need to. I've learned, though, that I can also drive it up some of these steep grades with the overdrive off and lock the torque converter. And I'm essentially in third gear with the torque converter locked and drive it like that and never let it switch to fourth gear. And it'll help with some of these steeper grades. Now, you don't want to switch it too fast too early. So normally I let it get out of first gear into second gear at least before I switch it. Yeah, it does shift a little funny at times. It just depends. You know, it wants to early shift and things like that. It just depends. You know, I've done it when I'm really down on it hard, and let me tell you, she's a rocket when you got that sucker locked up in a low gear like that. But I can tell you, it's probably pretty rough on your drivetrain or your transmission even. If you're doing that all the time, I wouldn't recommend it all the time. If you do it with a little bit lighter acceleration to do it, it's not going to be near as hard. This transmission already shifts pretty hard anyway. The video and in the dark really doesn't do it justice, but let me tell you, here I am still locked up, you know, getting up to about 55 now, but it's still locked up. And I mean, that's putting the hammer on down, up a steep grade, it'll take it. Yeah, she runs good. This has to be by far one of the cheapest, best improvements I have made to this truck by far. You know, some people's gonna say other things. I can do this, I can do that, but let me tell you, for a $5 switch, a little bit of wire, I just have it taped on the side of my column right now until I get it really mounted. It's in a great place. I'm gonna try to figure out how to mount it, but all I have to do is reach down behind my steering wheel and just flip it with my left hand. I mean, it's just like super great. I don't have to bend over and reach the dash or anything like that. It works out awesome. I love it. You know, I'm just learning. I read up on it a lot. You know, I already knew I had to switch it off when I slowed down. I knew that. I knew it was gonna shift or whatever. So I've done a lot of reading up, but as I drive it, I'm just learning how to utilize it a lot better. There's times I don't use it at all. When I'm in town, speed limit's 35, 40 a lot. You know, I can run 40, 45. That's what most traffic's doing, and I can keep it locked up. As long as we're driving steady, you know, it just keeps it locked up and works fine. How does it run with somebody without the 410s and maybe a different gear ratio and big tires? Obviously, you're probably going to have to kick it off a lot sooner. It may lug a lot more, but you know, here it is locked up. You don't hear no downshifting, no torque converters, locking and unlocking. I love it. It was just the first night I drove this thing home from South Carolina up to North Carolina to move here. It was just rough. I mean, it was just kicking in, out, in, out, in, out, and I hate it. I have the ground on the, I have the transmission computer module, whatever. I have it grounded. I have the ground wires away. Uh-oh, Popo. Let me get off here.